In a world where 99% of people are desperately trying to fit in, the 1% understand that success is found when you stand out from the crowd. I'm Jack Henderson, and this is the Flamingo Sundays Podcast. If you're looking for the 99%, you're in the wrong place. Allana Ford.
It's me.
Welcome to the Flamingo Sundays Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Why Pilates?
Okay. Years ago, just going to get this out there, I hurt my knee really badly. It was actually, not many people know this, it was actually a sex injury.
All right. There we go. We're getting into the deep stuff.
Let's just get into it. Where my kneecap dislocated. It was pretty fucked after that.
Wow.
And I had to get surgery.
Right.
Like, it was mucking around with physio and stuff like that, and I ended up getting surgery. I was a bit of an exercise junkie beforehand, so it really, really threw me, the surgery. I had some complications after it. I got femoral neuritis, which, like, my whole quad wasted away. It's a really shit 12 months. Like, it was terrible.
And this is just from a dislocated knee after a sex act.
Yeah. It's rough.
Incredible.
Rough, yeah. And at the time, obviously, it was terrible. Now I can look back and go, those things happened to lead me where I am now. But then I really couldn't get back into exercise the way that I would before. I really couldn't do group exercise classes. Going to the gym just wasn't the same.
Yeah. What was the exercise you were doing previous to the knee injury?
Just a gym junkie and did like pump classes and
so standard,
just standard kind of stuff. But I just felt like I was really restricted because of the complications with the knee injury, and like it was pretty bad. I was at the physio 2 or 3 times a week for 12 months, and in the end, the physio was like, "I'm just taking your money. Like, this is just a time thing now."
It's a great business model. Just take the money.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that I probably paid for his kids' university in that 12 months. It was pretty rough. Anyway, it was a bit of time to get it to come a little bit better.
Yeah.
But then I was trying out heaps of different exercise classes and lots of different things to get back into movement. And I came across Reformer, and I absolutely loved it. And I found that I could do most of it, or there were simple swaps that I could do that I didn't feel like I was just sitting out of half of a class. So basically it got me back into movement and feeling really good, strengthened up my knee after my knee injury. I was going for a while, trying out different studios in Sydney, and I just didn't find anything that really resonated with me. Like, while I loved Reformer and, you know, the style of class, I thought that most of the studios weren't super friendly. I didn't like the look and the feel of them. They're a bit blokey. Like, it wasn't really
like my office.
Yeah, a lot like this.
Just yelling. Yes. Train harder. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's nothing against grey, but
like blokey, like this studio.
Yeah,
right.
Like, it grey. I don't know, it just wasn't like, I love luxe things and really beautiful spaces, and I just started to have this thought of this could be done in a way that would really appeal to women. And it wasn't like, it was kind of gaining traction back then. It wasn't huge.
How many years ago was this?
Probably like 7 or 8 years ago. And that seed planted in my mind that I actually thought that it could be done differently. And then I went down the line of looking into the business model, how much money could be made from it, was it sustainable, where was it going? And I thought there was something to it.
What were you doing at the time?
At the time, I was an office manager at a finance kind of company.
Right.
And I jumped around heaps in my career. Like, I've done heaps of different things. Never knew what I wanted to do. Kind of after 1 or 2 years would always be like, I just never. Always had itchy feet.
Right.
And now that I work for myself and have my own business, like, I just know that being trapped in a role where I work for someone else is not for me. And I love that creativity and freedom. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure I've got ADHD as well. Like not diagnosed, but like
Potentially.
Yeah, so just it took a little while. Actually, that's probably not what I was doing when I first discovered Reformer.
Right.
Moved around so much, but when I finally made the move to do it and sign the first lease and stuff like that, that was the role I was in. But it took a while to save up the money. Like it's not something you could just open without a lot of cash behind you. And at the time I was married, so I had to kind of get my ex on board to, we were married. It was our money and
dream team.
Yeah. So it took quite a while to convince him that he's an accountant as well. So
conservative in nature, right?
Very conservative. He's also a liquidator. So like
probably seen a few Pilates studios go into liquidation, I'm assuming.
So many businesses go under that, it was really hard to convince him that I should start a business.
Right.
When you're married, you both have to be on board with everything and everything's joint. So that took a while to convince him. And there was a few false starts with even once I did convince him with leases and DAs and stuff like that. So I'd be really interested in a spot and then we'd find out that, that DA was a no-go once you get a planner involved and things like that. So it did take a while from me deciding that it was a really good idea to actually opening the first studio.
So with hurting your knee,
yeah,
not doing any Pilates, it sounds like prior to hurting your knee.
Yeah.
What was the time frame between when you started doing Pilates and when you actually decided to start the business?
Oh, years. Maybe 3 or 4 years.
Right. So it sounds like you got a lot of experience in the craft.
Yeah.
Before you then thought, hey, there's a business in this.
Yes.
Right. And you were living in Sydney at the time?
Yeah.
Right. And then you started the first studio in Sydney?
In Sydney, in Dulwich Hill.
Right. In
the
the West.
OG. Yep.
The OG.
OG. Yeah.
And when did it go? Because I hear this stuff all the time and I've interviewed so many business owners where it starts off as a passion and then they start a business out of it, and all of a sudden now because they do it every single day, it's no longer a passion for them, right? Because they lose that love for what they used to love because now it's a business, and we know what comes with business. So when did you decide that, hey, this is not just a passion for me? I think I can make something out of this and do it better than the people you'd obviously
I think
been students of.
I thought that I could do it before I opened the doors, but when I opened the doors, I did it in such a way with all the marketing beforehand that I had so many people signed up and paid when I even opened the doors.
Right.
That by the time I opened the doors, I was like, this is something and this is going to make me a lot of money. So I guess from get-go, only because I was all in and it was going to be a success and there was no, I don't know.
But you'd never done business before, right?
No.
So a lot of people are scared by business, right? Especially if you don't grow up around people who are in business or your parents are not financially literate.
I guess the fact that my ex is a liquidator as well probably should have scared me more.
Yeah, you're like, I might just stay within my job. Yeah. So what was the process from when you decided to say, hey, I can do this better than the blokey studios that I've been, would you say practicing in? Is that what you say? You practice in a studio? To then deciding to start the business, and then from deciding to start the business to actually opening the doors.
Yeah.
How did you work out what to do, when to do it, how to do it? For example, you just said, I signed up a lot of people before we even opened the doors.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't know that you could probably do that. So what was the process like, and how did you find out the information to then be able to go execute on that information?
Yeah. Well, I have a commerce degree.
Okay.
So there has been some
There's more
business
layers.
stuff
There's
beforehand.
layers to this.
Love a lot of, I don't know, personal development has been a huge part of my journey even before I had a business.
Yeah.
I'm just someone who can break big things down into cool, what's next, and then what's next, and what's next, and how do I want it to look, and work backwards. So, while it wasn't easy, I don't think there was anything really hard about it. I
That's
don't
good.
know. Like, I just
So
don't.
when you say you're into personal development, what sort of personal development? Before you got into business, you were working as an office manager and it sounds
Yeah.
like a multitude of other roles. Like what sort of content would you consume?
Just
Was
so
it all
one of
like
my
Instagram stuff and YouTube or
lots
was it
of books,
right?
and one of my favorite kind of personal development people back in the day is Denise Duffield Thomas.
Okay.
Like
I'm not
about
familiar with her, but
okay, so
that's okay.
she's for her courses and books and stuff are for women, and
Right.
they're around like getting comfortable with having money, and like
Mhm.
it's actually not that hard. It's a mindset block.
Mhm.
And like how can we work through like, well, what do you want and what around you could be getting in the way, and kind of breaking that down really simply. So I think that helped to some extent.
Right.
A lot of her content is for like women in business. And it breaks down like marketing is just telling people what you're doing and then showing them how they could get involved. Like it's just breaking it down,
Making the hard
making it simple.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Also just I love learning. So I've got a commerce degree. I've got a diploma of financial planning, diploma of event management, got all my Pilates thing. Like I've always been someone who loves learning.
Right. So education has been a big part of how
Yeah.
you've been able to make the hard things maybe seem more simple than if you didn't have education.
Yeah, exactly. But I think like not just because you have a commerce degree doesn't mean that you'll be good in business either.
For sure.
But I think that it certainly helped having like commerce is pretty broad too. Like you've got a little bit of I did fail first year accounting though.
There we go.
Yeah.
And you were with an accountant.
Had to do it again.
How funny.
I did it again and I passed the second time,
Right.
that unit. Everything else was like really good. It's just accounting. I hate it.
The numbers. How's accounting now? Hopefully you don't fail.
I have a full-time in-house accountant.
Very good.
So anytime I go to want to do something or make a decision, her name's Ruffy, or Lauren Ruffy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Ruffy, talk numbers to me. Like
That's right.
she breaks it down in a way that I understand. But even that, like I knew that I don't understand all of the spreadsheets and all those kinds of things. And so I have gone about getting the person on my team to make sure that I get all of that simply in a way that I understand it. So it's just making what seems super complicated simple in a way that works for me.
And then for the things that you may be not as great at, hiring people that are better.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is obviously one of the keys to business.
Exactly.
So what did it look like in the first 12 months of business? It sounds like you obviously found your studio in the Inner West.
Yep.
You went through the fit out and got it all set up.
Yep.
You had students, clients? What do you call them? Clients.
Yep.
Clients.
Or members, yeah.
Members. What did it look like from when you opened the doors to when day 365
that first year was a bit of a shit show because it was COVID.
Right.
So I think I was open for 4 months. We had a lockdown.
The ex-husband's going, oh my gosh.
He was actually when COVID happened, he was cheering because he was like, "This is my time."
Yeah, right.
And it turns out that it actually wasn't their time because of all of the government prop-ups and stuff. But anyway, that's another story. Yeah, it was just a matter of knowing that it would, like I just knew that it would come. We wouldn't be locked down forever, and just held on and opened back up when we could. But I also had this philosophy in the first 12 months of everyone will be freaking out and everyone will be minimizing what they're doing. And I wasn't. I was like planning for the next studios just because I knew that it was going so well. And when it reopened, everyone would be like, oh, and I just didn't want to be like that. I was like, let's just go hard.
So when everyone was sort of retreating and potentially going in a defensive mode, you were like, well, maybe this is the time for us.
I saw it as an opportunity.
Right.
Yep. So.
And do you think that sort of mindset again was created from all of the education and the content you listened to in the past? Because again, that is counterintuitive to what most people would think. I know during COVID for me, I definitely wasn't like, hey, let's grow. I was like, hey, let's not go bankrupt.
Sometimes I think there's something wrong with me, like, to be honest. I'm just wired a little bit differently.
Right.
And I'm just like, cool, how like that's working, double down on what's working. Oh, that didn't work, try something different. I don't know. There was just something in me that said, you've got something really good, like keep going.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So when you built out the original, was there a business plan?
Yeah.
You made projections, I'm assuming, of
Yeah.
like what sort of revenue we were going to hit, how
Yeah.
many members or clients we had to sign up within the first 12 months.
Yeah.
When we got to the end of the first 12 months, were you in line with that business plan? Were you out of line with that business plan? And what gave you the confidence outside of potentially something being wrong with you, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
to then go, well, let's look at opening
Yeah.
Studio 2?
It was definitely in line with projections. I think even with the being shut, you
Right.
know, like it actually was a lot more profitable, more successful than I originally thought
Right.
with the numbers. And I do think that comes down to just going really hard with the marketing beforehand. I still to this day, I think that I was the first person that started like weekly memberships for Reformer. That
Right.
wasn't a thing.
What's the normal membership?
Normal before I started, you just bought packs.
Right.
That's how it was
like
done.
10 class pack, for
Yeah,
example.
That's
Right.
always how it was done. So someone may come out and say, no, I had that a year before, but like I'd never seen it and nobody had ever heard of it.
Right.
And so I opened with a weekly membership.
Mhm.
And it was also, I did a foundation membership, which is like everyone fucking does that now. Like
Right.
it's just standard practice in
For the
any,
punters like me, what's a foundation membership?
that just means that you'll join beforehand at a reduced price.
Right.
And we say like people can give 30 days notice to cancel. Like you're not locked in forever or anything, but it's
Right.
to get people locked in on a special rate that will only be available before you open.
Right. So essentially like pre-sign-ups. for example.
Pre-sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I went really hard with that method before I opened the first studio,
Right.
and people just absolutely went bananas for it.
How did people know about the studio and know about you? Because I'm assuming if you weren't in that world before, you were just
So
a young girl enjoying a life.
Yeah. So I did go about, like I got my Pilates qualifications. I
Mhm.
don't teach. I haven't taught in years. I taught to begin with, just to be able to hire and fire and be in that world properly.
Yeah.
So got my qualifications, taught at a few different studios around Sydney just to kind of build up a bit of credibility. But so what was the question? I've completely had a blank. It happens.
That's right. You're like, oh, what's my brain saying? You're like, this room's very grey.
It's very grey in here, guys.
So the question was, how you
Well, how do people know?
How do people know?
Okay, the
you
marketing.
You then said that you went out, you worked in other studios, you got your qualifications,
Yes.
so you knew the craft. But again, if you'd never started a business before and you'd never been in that world, it's not like you're a fitness influencer or something like that, right?
No. So the main thing that I did was like Facebook and Instagram advertising. And
Right.
I had never done that before.
Personally or through a business?
I did it myself.
Yeah, but I mean, like, were you advertising as Allana?
No, as
the
Muse.
business?
Yeah,
Okay.
as Muse. Just had a crack at it.
Yeah.
It was working and people were signing up. So as I knew that it was working, I'd throw more money behind it. And
you're running ads?
yeah, I was running ads. I just kind of, they're probably really shit, like compared to what we do now.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll just give it a whirl. So they worked really well. I did letterbox drops everywhere. I went to every business around, introduced myself, handed out flyers, like.
So all the 101s?
All the 101s. There was nothing.
And so you were opened in Dulwich Hill, so I'm assuming in the surrounding area, right?
Yeah. So at the time I lived in Petersham.
Right.
So it was a few suburbs away. Yeah, just walk the streets, letterbox drops, the ads. I told everyone I knew.
Yeah.
Introduced myself to everyone I could possibly introduce myself to.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy.
Just the 101s.
Yeah.
And then you open up the studio, and were you the instructor from day dot?
Only with some of the classes. So
Right.
I think we opened with, I don't know, like 45 classes a week or something. Like we opened strong.
Right.
I think that's what a lot of people muck up as well. They'll open just like really soft launch stuff. And that's
45 classes a week is what, roughly 6, 7, 8 a day or something?
yeah.
Right.
Like, you know, morning, afternoon, weekends. Like I opened and people knew what the timetable was going to be before they signed up to the foundation membership. And I think because I had that pretty full on timetable and I had recruited lots of teachers to teach,
Mhm.
it opened like a proper fucking business, which a lot of people don't do. Like, I'll just like go really easy and just ease into it. And
So you started as if you'd done this before.
yeah.
When did you know the time was right to start exploring Studio 2?
Probably not that long after. Maybe 6 months after I was thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah. I just thought, why not go again? I don't think that there was anything about it that couldn't be replicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And from when you started that initial idea, which was say 6 months into when you actually opened Studio 2, what was the time difference?
I can't remember.
Was it in year 2, do you think?
I think it was in year 2. It was
Right.
such a blur. So Hamilton in Newcastle ended up being the second studio, but
Right.
it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be number 3.
Okay.
And it was just because Camperdown ended up being 3, was meant to be 2, because the DA took so long.
Right. So
But
you had essentially 2 studios going to open at a similar time.
Yeah.
All right. What's your connection to Newcastle? Were you originally from Newcastle?
No, so I did spend a lot of time growing up out in the Hunter, in
Right.
Lochinvar, like most of primary school. But my parents and my sister were in Newcastle.
Right.
Got family around, so that was their base. So moved there to be closer to my parents and my sister.
Right. And that's how you had the connection to Hamilton.
Yes.
Because most people wouldn't know where Hamilton is, right?
No, they wouldn't. No.
When did you get divorced?
March?
Of this year?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. The paperwork still has to be done.
Right. So it's a new thing.
It's new.
Okay.
It's
Let's dive
new.
into that.
Let's do it.
How has that impacted the business?
Oh, how's it impacted the business? It hasn't at all on a day-to-day kind of day-to-day.
Yep.
Hasn't. I think because everything's not settled yet, there is that what will happen.
Right. The financial settlement, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So the reason I asked the question is because generally speaking, and I know from my own experience, when you're growing a business,
Yeah.
it becomes your baby, right?
Yeah.
More time and effort generally goes into the business and everything around that than your relationship.
Yeah.
Is that what happened with your relationship?
No, I don't think so. Kind of wasn't good for a very long time.
Right.
And tried to throw everything at it and fix it and turn it around.
Right.
And I just made the decision earlier in the year that it wasn't going to get better and
Right.
to call it. And I think I have kids as
Mhm.
well. I have a 6 and a 7-year-old. And I think for a long time, I tried to make it work for them.
Mm.
And in the end, I was like, I think what they're being around and what they're seeing is probably, it's not good for them,
Mm.
you know? And that's not the only reason that I made the decision, but a big part of me staying was for the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And how there's a lot in that, right?
Yeah.
Relationship, kids, starting a business.
Yeah.
I know a lot
It's a
of
lot.
yeah, absolutely. A lot of young women. The reason they maybe don't do the business is
Yeah.
because of all of those things.
Yeah.
So the kids would have been around when you started the business, right?
Yeah, they
You
were
would have
really
been
little.
recently married at that time? Or
No,
for
so
a
I was
while?
married for 10 years.
Right.
I got married very young.
Right. Okay. So you've been married,
Yeah.
got the kids, started the business.
Yeah.
How do you juggle all of that?
Oh, I have a lot of help and a lot of
Good
help.
answer.
Yeah, I do. And it wouldn't have been possible. Like, I'm okay with having a lot of responsibility and a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like I like it and I thrive on it. But also, like, over the years I've made a conscious decision to like do that and do it with as much ease as possible. So like, I've had a housekeeper. I don't currently at the moment, but I've had a housekeeper for years.
Mm.
Like, I don't spend time doing my washing or making my bed, or like any time, any spare time that I've got is working on myself and my health and my fitness, or with my children, or on the business. And I think that's played a crucial role. Like I can't do everything, and I won't. And I've got a nanny that she's been with the family for years, and she helps with the children. And my children now, they do a week with their dad and a week with me. So the week on, week off. So my nanny helps with housekeeping stuff now. So that's not two separate people. It's just her. But there's absolutely no way that I could do everything on my own. I think a lot of people, I've been at networking events before with women, like spoken at events, and people have told me like the whispers when they hear stuff like that as mothers, like you get so much judgment. Like women can be so bitchy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what's the reason for that? Because I feel like it's your responsibility as a woman to bring up your kids?
It's almost this like, who do you think you are?
Right.
You know?
I get that.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
That's right.
And in Australia, that's why I know that you don't love the States, but you don't love visiting. I just love, I love the States, but I love their culture of
eating lots of food and being fat as fuck.
Yeah. Poor American.
Sorry.
They're eating the pets.
Yeah. I had In-N-Out Burger and I had Chick-fil-A when I was there, because they're two things, and I was like, it's like a full restaurant. People go to Chick-fil-A like we go out to a nice restaurant.
I know.
Blows my mind.
There's lots of shitty things about the States. But
Sorry,
I love the fact that they don't put people down if they're doing well. Like that, on the whole, in the States, they're like, oh, you're doing well? Like, fuck yeah. Whereas in Australia, a lot of people...
Tall poppy syndrome.
Tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah, I feel you.
A lot.
In the early days, though, did you have the help?
Like, not really early days. Probably like the past 3 years, I've made a really conscious effort to put resources into getting that help. I also, like, when you're married, it's always a point of contention of like who will do what. And I think taking away that point of contention of like, well, a third person will do it that gets paid.
Yeah.
And everyone wins, you know? And to be able to finish work and have your dinner on the table, you know? Like, and there wasn't a fight about it.
I know. It's the best.
Like, how amazing is that? Just to take away any point of contention, or like to make life as easy as possible.
I like that.
In any possible way.
So, question on that.
Yeah.
If the contention was taken away, yet doesn't sound like it ended all that well, you know?
No, it didn't.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. I
think women will get a lot of learning from this.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, right?
I think I've just I'm really guarded with how much I want to say around it.
That's fine. You don't have to say anything. Told you I was going to ask you as much questions as I wanted.
Yeah. But there was some things that happened a few years ago that I think that I've never kind of gotten over, and I've really tried and done a lot of work around it. And at the end of the day, I think if someone's not there for you and your children when you really need them, like, I don't think you can ever get over that.
For sure.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Because one thing that I've personally experienced, and I know this happens a lot with business owners that I've spoken to, is when you meet your partner, generally, especially if you're young, it sounds like you were quite young when you met your partner.
Yeah.
You're a certain person.
Yeah.
And then as you start to grow as an individual, and it sounds like personal development was quite important to you.
Yeah.
Maybe that person and you don't go on the same personal journey, right? Like when you get with someone when you're 18 or 20 or 16, whatever it is.
Yeah. I was 20 when I met my ex.
Well, there you go. So you're so early in life,
broke
right?
Up I think I was 20. Broke up when I was 34. So that's a
long time.
You change.
A lot.
Yeah. And I think you can either go on a growth journey together, or if you don't, you just yeah, you're worlds apart.
And it's, whether it's right or wrong, it's usually more common for the male in a relationship to run the business and do all that type
Yeah.
of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
you know, for yourself, you're obviously going out there and giving it a red hot crack.
Yeah.
Which is also uncommon. And I think a lot of
It is
females would
uncommon.
struggle with that, right? Because like
Yeah.
generally the male is the alpha.
Yeah. And I think we kind of butted heads quite a bit around whose business was more important or whose business was more, you know, and
internal competition.
I think it's almost a bit of an ego thing. And I think that men, as much as like me getting back into dating and stuff like that, and you know, having these conversations, and men are like, oh, well, who wouldn't want a woman that like is successful and earns heaps of money? It's like, okay, you say that, but how does the ego go with it really?
It's true.
And it doesn't do well.
It's very true.
Because men need to feel needed, and a big part of men feeling needed is their ability to provide. Yeah.
What was the hardest point? If you reflect back, it sounds like you started the business in COVID, which was what, 2020-ish, give or take?
So I started in 2019, in December 2019.
We've been on a similar journey. I started my business in 2019 as well. There you go.
Yeah. So it's almost been 5 years for me. It's coming up to 5 years.
What's been the most challenging point in that 5 years where you've been at your lowest emotionally?
Probably having team members leave that you thought that they would be there for more of the journey, or being attached to that team member probably more than they were to the business. Like that's been a challenge for me, and to learn that like not everyone will be there for the whole journey, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's probably, there was one point where one of my managers that I was really close to.
Were you close to them before they worked for you?
No.
Okay.
But I'm quite I don't want I've really consciously thought about it, and I don't want any of these experiences to change how I interact with my team.
Yeah.
Because I'm really, really friendly and close with all of my team. And I know some people say like, anyone who works for you is not your friend and don't treat them like that. And I don't agree with that. And I don't want to let like the couple of, you know, team members that didn't work out jade me into thinking that way. But someone that I was really, really quite close to and had a lot to do with helping me open the business not open the business, but open a few of the studios, and we worked like this together. She resigned. I think it was the day I was taking my daughter on this amazing trip to Disneyland in the States. And I was going to be away for a couple of weeks, and she resigned and like used all of her leave. And
when you were going away.
Yeah. So, you know, when I reflect on it, it's like, well, maybe it was too close to it, and she almost wanted to just hide and like, oh, sorry, can't really handle the confrontation. But, you know, when you're really close to people, you treat people like friends and family and pay people really well, and that stuff that hurts. Reflecting
back on that now, everyone leaves for their own reason, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's that situation or another situation, sounds like it happened a few times.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest takeaway? It sounds like you reflect on that like I do.
Yeah.
What's been your biggest takeaway from let's use that example, like what could you have done differently now to maybe keep that person for a longer part in the journey?
I don't think anything. And I think my biggest takeaway upon reflection is that people can come into your life or your business or, you know, any kind of capacity like that, and they don't necessarily have to be with you for a really long time for it to still be, you know, fantastic and meaningful and have a big part in your business or in your life. Like you can't kind of, I don't know, to stop trying to control everything and just let the right people flow in and flow out when they're meant to, I think.
How have you found leadership? Because obviously you were working inside of an organization before you started your own.
Yeah.
Now you're leading an organization with lots of studios.
Yeah.
How have you found that that growth, I suppose, of going from leading yourself to now leading lots of people?
Yeah, I think that's been pretty huge. I have had roles before. Like one of my roles was office manager at Night Frank in the Sydney CBD, and there was like 100 people there, and
Right.
like so, you know,
Big blokey office.
big blokey office, but lots of EAs and admin, and so I have managed people before, but definitely not in this capacity. I have found it challenging, especially being someone who is okay moving at a really fast pace, having a lot of energy. And it takes all types, you know, especially creatives can work at a different pace. And I've invested a lot into mentoring. And I did have, for about 18 months, I had a HR mentor, and she didn't do any of the HR stuff for you. You met with her every couple of weeks. You went through what was happening with the team, any issues that came up. And my key takeaway from her, apart from like really planning out exactly what the business needs, was to get curious and not furious. It's like when something went wrong or people do something, you're like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like,
I feel you.
It's to like really sit back and not get angry, and to get curious about like how that might have happened, and you know, do you need more systems in place?
Have you got a recent example of when be curious and not furious has played out in the real world?
Oh,
Like when was the last time one of your staff members fucked something up? Hey, Joel. Like for example, like you record a podcast and then like I just forget to click record.
I knew you were gonna.
Poor Joel.
Joel's a
Probably like spelling mistakes and
Spelling mistakes.
Uh-huh.
See, the good thing about me is I can't really spell, so I
There
wouldn't
you
know
go.
whether that was a mistake or not.
Fine. Just like,
See,
but
I get naive instead of furious because I've got no idea what the word says anyway.
it's a
So
good place to be, I reckon.
is your attention to detail quite
Yes. And there's also,
intense?
I do have to rein it in, because there's almost something in me that's like, what could be better at all times? And I know that I have that tendency. So at some point I have to let a lot go, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, see, unfortunately I don't have that issue. My attention to detail is very poor.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good thing. Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.
In some cases.
I think one of my superpowers is that if someone else can do it, they absolutely are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can just let it go.
Yeah, and I don't know whether they're doing a great job or not. I'm just like,
What's that like?
go you.
But I do think another thing that this HR mentor taught me as well, and it was so much money, this mentor, but it was so worth it. I've been in a lot of kind of mentorship groups and stuff like that. I probably got the most value out of her, if I'm honest. Instead of taking things personally when someone does the wrong thing or doesn't do,
or potentially leaves, right? Like one of the reasons that you took that so hard is because you take it personally. Like, oh, what have I done wrong?
exactly.
Interesting.
She taught me, instead of thinking about things in terms of what do I need or what do I want, it's like, well, actually, what does the business need? And take myself out of it completely, so that it's not oh, my feelings have been hurt because, you know, you did X, Y, Z. It's absolutely not about me. It is about the business. And you kind of take the personal element out of it that way. And it makes it really black and white. Like, are they in line with their contract or their KPIs? Are they doing what you've set out for them to do? Or is that not clear? And to get clear on that. And it actually makes, I don't know, like I've had to fire a number of people. It makes firing people really easy. It's like, well, that's not what the business needs.
What was it? Run me through your first experience with firing someone. The first time I fired someone, I got done for unfair dismissal.
Oh, I have before too, but
they said follow the script, and I was like, all right, sorry, you're not the right fit. And they're like, you can't say that. I'm like, what do you mean you can't say that?
They're like, you're not fit enough.
And I got done for unfair dismissal because I said you're not the right fit.
Oh,
I should have followed the script. Run me through your first firing experience.
Well, the actual unfair dismissal thing didn't have any. I wasn't personally involved in that, but
that's
but anyway, there's always a learn. There's always a takeaway.
You either win or learn.
You either win or you learn. Like I've learned a lot. My first firing.
Because just while you think about that,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. But like, if there's young ladies or young men or anyone listening to this,
Yeah.
for a matter of fact, it's like it's all of the things you don't
Like the
know. You
oldies.
don't know. I don't think there's too many oldies listening to this, other than I was going to say my mum and dad, but they're not old. They're great people. The funny thing is about business is that you come across like this as well. It's like we're confident, right? We're confident in our ability generally with
Yeah.
business owners,
Yeah.
and you think you know everything to an extent.
Yeah.
The reality is we know very little. But it's all these things you don't even know you don't know, right? Like the first time you fire someone, it's like
Yeah.
you like your staff, and like to fire someone's not
Yeah.
an
It
enjoyable
sucks.
thing to do.
It's
And
not.
then
It's not a good thing to do.
then like the first time you open a studio, that's why I was curious around that. It's like you've
Yeah.
never opened a studio before, so you don't know about all the little 1%ers like, oh fuck, I
Yeah.
didn't do that correctly, or I never got the internet turned on, or like just little things, you
Yeah.
know. And then you open the second studio, and then all of a sudden you realize you don't have any systems and processes, so you got to teach all these people different things, and
Yeah.
it's very, very fascinating. Anyway, I hijacked. Back to your question. What was your first firing experience like?
I think the first time I had to fire someone, it was an instructor, and she just kept getting bad feedback and wouldn't turn it around. And she was like irate, you know, like couldn't take on the feedback, but then also just didn't understand. And I chucked a massive tantrum, like, "Oh, good fucking luck to you," like that kind of a firing. And I was like, okay. I think that was the first one.
So it was a big blow up.
It was a big blow up, but now I've really got it down pat.
Right.
It's, yeah.
Easiest way to fire someone is hire a general manager and to get them to do it for you.
Yeah.
I say good day to me in the morning and I'm like,
I do
you
have
ever
a
seen The
GM.
Dictator? Have you seen the movie The Dictator?
No.
Right.
Good one. Should I get some inspiration?
Well, the thing, it's Sacha Baron Cohen is the guy who does Borat and stuff. Yeah. So like he's this dictator, and every time one of his staff doesn't agree with what he had to say, he would like say to their face, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And as he walks away, he's like, they all get killed, not fired. But anyway, it's a very funny
Maybe
thing.
I should start doing
I'm like
that.
the dictator.
Yeah, okay. I do have a general manager.
Yeah.
And she would be the person to fire most people now. So there's a GM.
So you're the dictator as well.
There's managers underneath, but I think I still fired the last person we had to fire. That was me. I still did it. I don't know why I did it actually.
It's Thursday and you're like, fuck this. I'm in one of those moods.
Fire someone.
What's been the most pivotal point in the business's journey?
I think there's been a few, going from one studio to two, even just that multi-site. Becoming a multi-site business, like then having two separate teams. And then I think the second one would be going from just all corporate owned to selling. I've now got two franchisees.
Interesting.
So I sold two of my existing studios to, new incoming franchisees, and they're now owned by franchisees. So becoming a franchisor was probably pretty big. And now we're not just running the business. I guess I can't just be like, oh, let's do this. It's like everything that we're doing, we have to think about how that would be as a franchisee, like as a Muse franchisee.
So now you've got to consult essentially the other business owners.
Yeah, well, not even sometimes we consult on little things, but it's thinking about how it would affect other business owners, I guess. Whereas I've never had to do that before.
Because you were the top dog, right?
Yeah. And for the most part, nothing's changed. It's just we can't do anything too wild and wacky, and kind of think twice about some things that might affect them in a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the reason that you thought now it's time to franchise the business as opposed to continuing to control them all yourself and growing them yourself? How did that come about? And
I
was
thought
going to say,
about
was it the
it.
right decision? But you probably
Was
going to say, no, it wasn't the right decision.
Well, to be determined.
That's
It
right.
only happened this year, at the start of the year. TBC. No, it's going great.
Of course.
But yeah. It took quite a while for that process. So I'd been thinking about it for a while, and I heard that someone else was doing it.
In your sector?
In my sector, and they had less studios already. And it kind of got me thinking, and I say this all the time with people who work around me, like it's it's people who have the balls and the confidence to actually do something. Like it's
Mm.
not once you get this big or once you've got this revenue or like checking the boxes. It's like, do you actually think you can do it? Do you have the balls to just do it?
Mm.
So with me thinking about it for quite a while, and then I heard, I'm not going to name them, but then I heard someone else was doing it. I was like, what am I doing? Like,
If they can do that, why can't I?
exactly. And so I'm someone who uses, I don't know, like, I guess I felt a little bit jealous. And I don't think jealousy is a bad thing at all. I like to use it as a, like, cool, well, what about that makes you jealous? And do you want that? And sit with it. And if it's a yes, then that's where that feeling's coming from.
I agree with that. I think like envy, if you use it to your advantage, is a powerful thing
100%.
because there's always something, an underlying factor that drives
Yes.
everyone in every
Yeah.
element of their life, right?
Yeah.
And generally speaking, business owners are competitive people.
Yeah, agree.
So if there's someone else doing something,
Yeah.
and Alex Hormozy actually talks about this. He talks about that business owners or entrepreneurs, they call them, generally they have a superiority complex, which is they think they're better than everyone else,
Yeah.
which some people will like that, some people won't, but I think it's true.
I don't really agree with that.
You don't think you have a superiority complex? Like
Ah.
you look at that other person and you're like, well, I definitely do.
I don't.
Like you look at someone else in your sector and you go, if they can do that, then I can definitely do that, and I can do it better because I'm better than that person.
I mean, I have had those thoughts, don't get me wrong.
I
But
definitely have those thoughts. What does drive you?
I don't know, it probably goes back to what I was saying before, that there's something in me that might be a little bit broken that's just always
Kneecap,
like
potentially.
yeah. A little bit. That's like what's next?
Mm.
Cool, bigger, better, what's next? And I don't think it comes from me thinking that I'm superior or anything like that.
I beg to differ.
Do you really?
I just think that, no, I'm not saying about you personally.
Yeah, share.
I just think that, like, the reason most entrepreneurs, or not most, but entrepreneurs want to grow and get bigger and better is because there is an underlying driver, which is generally they're trying to prove something either to themselves or to the world because of something that has happened. I know that for myself.
But I don't think that comes from us thinking that we're better.
Or maybe not, we don't think we're good enough.
Yeah, which is the opposite.
Yeah, but then you think, yeah, I'm going to get better than that motherfucker. I think that.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I don't agree with the fact that it's because you already think you're better.
Yeah, but it's true. Or you want to think you're better.
Yeah.
Or you want to be better.
Yeah.
It's generally you want to be better at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what drives you?
What drives me?
Because you mentioned before that with men, for example, one of the things that they want and one of the things that would drive a man is that they want to provide.
Yeah.
That's an underlying thing
Yeah.
of a male.
Yeah.
So as a female, generally it's the opposite, right? It's they want to have a family, they want to nurture.
Yes. So
You're out there on the field.
I know. I have been looking into this a lot lately because I feel like I can be like in my masculine a lot, and I do like providing. I feel like I'm a really, really generous person. I was having a discussion with my friend yesterday about this actually, and she's very much the same, like owns a few businesses, like we're quite successful, loves doing things for others, providing for others. And I just so happened to listen to this podcast, and it was talking about like women in their femininity being nurturers. And I think that sometimes you can think that you're being your masculine and wanting to provide, but also you could also think about that in the way that you're wanting to nurture others as well. And I think that I do, like we employ 100 people through the group. Like I'm really happy to be able to do that. Pay everyone really well, create an amazing culture. I mean, I still do really well out of it as well. And, have a great life for myself and my kids, and, really generous with my friends and that kind of thing. But I get stuck on the, like, am I too in my masculine as well with that, like what's next? What's more? I don't know, like what's bigger? I don't really know.
What is next?
What is next? Well, opening a new studio 13 in a couple of weeks' time.
I was going to ask a follow-up question is how many studios, but you just told me.
So studio 13 will be opening, and then we're going. That's
13 in 4, almost 5 years.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
And this is the third state.
Right.
So
we're in New South Wales.
ACT, and then that's our first one in Queensland.
Whereabouts in Queensland?
The Gold Coast.
The Goldie.
Yeah.
Goldie's a great place for a reformer.
Yes, it is.
I could get amongst a bit of a reformer in the Goldie, I reckon.
Get amongst. What is next? Want to grow the franchising side of the business and keep growing our own corporates as well. And then at the beginning of the year, or kind of closer to the beginning of the year, I launched another business as well, which is a Reformer Pilates training certification. And it's fully online. I went and got my Cert 4 in training and assessment, which was the dullest.
More education. There we go.
Dullest fucking course you've ever done your whole entire life.
What was the teacher's name?
Oh, I can't even remember. It was the worst. I think there was like 5 different teachers as well. It was like pulling teeth every
Isn't
fucking
it so
second
funny
of
that
course.
people, you get trained how to do something by someone who's never actually done it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to teach you how to train people.
Yeah.
And run a business. But I've never done it myself.
Never done it.
It's funny.
But also, they're putting on a training course so that you can go and put on a training course. And they're sitting there telling you.
Training trainers.
Training trainers. They're sitting there telling you how to keep it interesting. And you're just there like trying to keep yourself awake.
And what was the reason that you started the education/training? Was that to be able to train your own staff so you can poach the ones that...
Yeah, multifaceted.
Yeah.
So we kept getting clients and, other people come to us saying, where should I go and get my training done? And we're sending a hell of a lot of people elsewhere to get it done.
To these people who are great trainers by the sounds of it.
And we got nothing from it.
Yeah.
And so there was that thought, like, well, why are we sending people away to another business to pay for something? Why wouldn't we just do it ourselves? The nature of the Reformer Pilates industry is it can be very transient. Like, we have a lot of team members that just work for us across the group, but there's a lot of them that are casual, and that can mean that they are quite transient. Like, they're doing it when they're studying or when they're traveling, or they kind of can come and go. So the constant need for new teachers or instructors is quite high. So being able to have people come through that training course and kind of keep the best people for ourselves is great.
Have you heard of the company called Dermalogica? I'm assuming you have.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you listened to the podcast on? You will find it very valuable.
Okay.
So it talks about Dermalogica and then how they started up their institute.
Yeah. Okay.
And how those two things ended up going hand in hand, and that's obviously a mega company now. So
yes.
I'm pretty sure I was on the Diary of a CEO or.
Love him.
It's very good. I think you get a lot out of it.
I'm going to get on it. And the third reason, well, there's probably a couple of facets to this. I love like creating new things. And so the thought of a new business like really excited me, but also having that other revenue stream is always good. Like, not relying on just Reformer Pilates classes.
So diversifying the business.
Yeah, exactly. So it is set up under a different business name and branding, and it's all completely separate.
Yeah.
And the reason that I did that, I thought really long and hard about it, is that our target audience coming through Muse, like our target clientele, is kind of 30 to 55. It is that older kind of demographic. And then we're finding the people coming through wanting to be instructors were younger. They were like 18 to 25.
Interesting.
So for me, it doesn't make sense to try and target 18 to 25-year-olds with a brand that we've spent so much money building and crafting to try and make that all fit into one. It just doesn't make sense.
Right. Isn't that interesting? So your target avatar is middle-aged women, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Middle-aged women.
Yeah.
Yet the people teaching or wanting to teach those middle-aged women other children of those women.
Yeah.
or,
Well,
or of similar age.
yeah. And
Interesting.
I think that, as I said, it can be a bit more flexible, and the younger ones coming through are really wanting that flexible career option, which is why younger women are going into like Pilates teaching and kind of
That's
that.
fascinating because they can do it in a way which works in with a flexible lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
So if
have
you're
that
traveling
whole,
or studying.
yeah, the whole Euro summer thing. Like a lot of our teachers across the Muse group will give heaps of notice and be like, I'm going overseas. I'm going to Europe for 8 weeks. Like,
And they could probably teach anywhere in the world, right?
well, they could if they wanted to, but geez, they earn a lot of money.
Mm.
So they just save up and they
You
just,
hearing this, Joel?
yeah, like they do
can see
pretty
you.
well.
Hey, it's Mr. Uren here, and I'm going to teach you some reformer. Got the one-legged kickback. What do you reckon?
The donkey kick.
The donkey kick. See, we have the donkey punch in here at Henderson. That'll do. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's flexible.
And how long has that business been in operation for, the education training business?
Maybe about 5 months.
Okay. Now, so this is the second time you started a new brand.
Yeah.
What have you taken out of the first brand that you started, being Muse, and I guess implemented into the two? And was there many correlations and similarities between the two?
So I took quite a lot out of it, but I think the main thing was setting it up from the beginning like it was going to be a huge business. Like we're not fucking around with like a cheap website. Like we're not doing things like a startup because it's going to be huge. So, a photo shoot from the beginning, proper, really, really good website, and all the SEO done from the beginning. Like everything done properly, copywriter,
and
flows.
Is it like an online video based platform?
It is,
so I'm assuming the content and all that again is of high quality.
Yeah. Like I think that's the main takeaway. Like taking lots of things that have worked with Muse, like the back end kind of HubSpot platform, proper funnels, like just like everything first class as opposed to a scrappy startup.
So it sounds like starting this second business has probably been a little bit more streamlined, and there has been a lot of learnings from the first business.
Definitely.
And how have you gone about marketing that business to be able to generate revenue? Is it similar concept to the first time?
Not really. It's kind of, there are lots of differences. I guess it's because it's online, it's almost a bit e-commerce-y, but then you've got, it's not a product. Like it is still kind of a service, but it's e-commerce.
Is it a proper certification?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So there are lots of differences to it as well. So we've gone out through the Muse network with in lots of different ways to tell them about the course. We have done some ads, but we're looking to do like quite a lot more. I think they're going up today. What else have we done? We're trying to get a lot of the sales through affiliate marketing. That was kind of my way of doing this differently that not a lot of other people do.
Interesting.
So for example, our teachers, we've got about 80 teachers across the group. We've said to them, if you share your code, they get a discount, you get kickback.
Yeah.
Like quite a lot of our sales have come through there. So they're kind of doing the selling for us. And then different studio owners that I know have got on board and put it out through their studios. So there's so much more work to be done with it. So much more. But I've kind of found Muse is the bigger beast, and all of our resources and attention keep kind of going back to Muse, especially when we're opening new studios and, there's a lot happening. So I do have thoughts around kind of splitting it up a bit more and having a dedicated marketing team member just on Spicy. It's called Spicy. Spicy Pilates.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
I like that. How'd you come up with the name?
I just liked it. Same as Muse. I don't know,
just like, I've got it.
Yeah.
Spicy is it.
Guys. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
What would 10-year-old Allana be proud of?
Oh.
Very specific age, wasn't it?
So specific.
That's when you're growing from a young girl into a adolescent.
Oh, I would hope that she would think I was pretty cool, but
She's a cool bitch.
I think the main thing that she would be proud of is just that I've gone for it, I think, and just, I don't know, just thought that I could when probably a lot of other people thought, like, you're fucking crazy. What are you doing?
Mm.
And put all that noise aside and just gone about and did what I want to do.
What do you reckon 80-year-old Allana will be proud of?
I think she'd be most proud of me just not ticking the boxes. And I say this to myself all the time. If it's like, I try and sometimes I find myself thinking, like, I'll just do the smaller option. Like, you don't need to play so big, you know, like almost that, like, who you think you are, like, just tone it down. And I'm like, no, you're not here just to tick the boxes. Like, even my marriage, right? Like, from the outside, ticked all the boxes, like, but that's not what life is about. Just ticking it off.
Just ticking the box.
You know, like that other people would think, oh, well, you know, you tick that box, why don't you just be happy with that? Like, that's not what it's about.
What's one thing I haven't asked you?
What's my favorite food?
Share.
What is my favorite food? Like Nutella, but
Nutella.
like once every 10 years I'll have Nutella. Hey? You don't eat Nutella? No.
Oh, Nutella's the fucking greatest. Are you kidding?
I ate a jar of Nutella the other week and I haven't had Nutella.
Yeah, I don't think I believe you when you're like, oh, once every 10 years.
No.
Like...
Nah,
Nutella's great.
I haven't had Nutella. I'm going to say like more than 5 years.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm a sugar fiend.
Fuck, it's good.
I'm like, the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the metabolism for that.
I'm sugar is the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's instead of drugs and alcohol, I choose to
You've swapped it out.
Oh my gosh, so bad. I'd be a fat motherfucker if I didn't run so much.
I was going to say, do you have a really fast metabolism?
I run a lot.
You run it off.
Yeah, I do like big ultra marathon runner and stuff like that.
Yeah, lucky.
Very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks
it's been a lot of fun.
Me. Yeah.
What do you think? How were the questions?
Oh, they were fun. I thought you were going to throw dicier ones at me than that.
I thought so. Amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all.
That was fun.
This is general advice and does not take into consideration your objectives, situation, or needs. You should consider if this advice is suitable to you or your circumstances, and please read any applicable PDS beforehand. This is a Henderson podcast production.